Great North Woods to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, the City of Brewer stepped up and hosted a fundraiser last night to support those impacted by the Robbins Lumber Mill fire.
Plus, a nonprofit counseling service is reopening in Bangor. We'll have the latest on that ahead.
And Bangor Pride is happening tomorrow with some new changes. We'll tell you what to expect here in Bangor.
Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us. Happy Friday, everyone.
Friday.
You've had a long week or two.
I have.
I've been in and out of here, but I bet you're ready for the weekend.
I am. I'm actually pretty tired today.
I bet you are. I bet you are. It's good to see you, my friend.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, I can't complain. Really at all.
That's all right.
Okay, we're going to kick things off with a check of the forecast as we always do, and it looks like a rainy day ahead today. It's kind of drizzly, rainy out there this morning, and then kind of cloudy as we head into the weekend. Doesn't look like the weekend's a total washout, though.
Well, that's good news.
Yeah.
We'll turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Happy Friday. We are watching an area of low pressure moving in from the west and going toward the east, causing some rain showers to develop this morning. Even some thunderstorms up in parts of Canada. Right now, we are not seeing any of that. Just some rain that's currently approaching. Some decent downpours at times. We're definitely welcoming now with some areas still dealing with a little bit of drought. We'll still deal with some thunderstorm opportunities on and off throughout the daytime period today. But as we do push forward in time, Futurecast showing some scattered showers and thunderstorms on and off today. As we head towards later on tonight, the precipitation will back off. We'll be under a partly cloudy sky with areas of dense fog developing. As we do push forward in time, notice we still have some areas dealing with some drought conditions. So again, we'll definitely welcome the precipitation as we do make a dent in that drought. But as we do take a look at the forecast for today, lower 70s, scattered showers and some thunderstorms, and that south wind getting up to about 5 to 10 miles per hour. As we do check out your hourly forecast for today, there's some rain, some thunderstorms expected today too. Temperatures not warming up all that much, only making it into the upper 60s to lower 70s for the afternoon period. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up.
All right, we'll see you a little later on. Thank you. A City of Ellsworth spokesperson confirms that a fire broke at a commercial structure yesterday. It happened at around 2 p.m. Thursday afternoon when a 911 call reported an outside fire involving hay bales quickly spreading to the back of 10 Franklin Street in Ellsworth and also affecting an adjacent structure and surrounding trees. City officials say Ellsworth's fire department quickly responded, and within a half an hour, they were able to contain the fire, preventing it from spreading any further. And there are no injuries reported. The cause of the fire is now under investigation.
Meanwhile, the suspect in a Bangor stabbing has been arrested in a stolen vehicle in another state. Just before midnight on June 20th, police were called to a residence on Essex Street for an alleged assault involving a knife. Bangor Police Department spokesperson Katie England says when officers arrived, they found a victim with critical stab injuries. England says that 37-year-old Abel Perez of Bangor was identified as the suspect, but he had fled the scene. She says that police learned that the victim's car was reported stolen by a neighbor while that victim was still in the hospital. Just before 9:30 a.m. on June 22nd, investigators in Bangor were contacted by the Guilderland, New York Police Department, which had stopped the stolen vehicle and took Perez into custody. He's being charged with attempted murder, elevated aggravated assault, domestic violence assault, and theft by unauthorized taking.
Well, a man initially arrested in connection with a shooting on a trail in Bangor has been arrested once again. Officers responded to Talbot Trail on Stillwater Avenue on June 15th after getting a 911 call from a homeless man saying he had been shot several times during an unprovoked attack by an unknown man. 38-year-old Justin Grover of Bangor was arrested 2 days later and charged with possession of a firearm by a prohibited person. He was then released on bail. Bangor Police Detective Lieutenant Brent Bolya says after an extensive investigation, Grover was arrested again yesterday. He's now being charged with elevated aggravated assault due to his alleged involvement in the shooting, and Grover is being held on $100,000 bail.
Well, the Penobscot County Grand Jury has indicted a man who was allegedly involved in a stabbing in Bangor back in April. Bangor Police Department spokesperson Katie England says that officers were called to Center Street on April 11th for a report of someone being attacked with a knife. She says the officers learned that a man had been stabbed in the arm and sustained minor injuries. According to England, the officers determined 20-year-old Hunter Targum was the alleged assailant, but then he had fled on foot. He was arrested a few days later. The grand jury indicted Targum on several charges, including aggravated assault, threatening display of a weapon, and violation of conditions of release.
Well, a hearing was held in Kennebec County Superior Court Thursday in connection with the trial for an Oakland daycare owner accused of killing an infant. The state has filed a motion to disqualify defense attorney Bob Sandy. Attorney Sandy represents Lisa Barney, who was charged in 2024 with manslaughter in the death of a 4-month-old in the fall of 2023. The trial was set to begin at the end of May, but has been postponed. At a hearing in Augusta yesterday, Assistant Attorney General Jennifer Ackerman argued that there is a possible conflict with Sandy that could impact materials and witnesses used in the trial, and that he should be disqualified from the case.
My job as a prosecutor is not just to seek convictions and to get prison sentences and all of those things. It is to ensure that this process has integrity.
The important point for me is not who did it. The important point is who didn't do it. And that's Lisa Barney. That's the focus.
The state and defense declined to comment, and the judge has taken the matter under advisement.
A Washington County man who was charged in connection with the murder of a Perry woman was back in court yesterday on a probation violation. Donald Dana, along with Kaylee Brackett, both of Perry, were charged and tried for murder, but a mistrial was declared after jurors were deadlocked on the charge against Dana. On Thursday, he appeared via Zoom for a court hearing related to an alleged probation violation. On April 9th of this year, the state filed a motion to revoke Donnell Dana's probation. Dana waived his right to a formal hearing and admitted to the violations. The state recommended personal recognizance, bail, and participation in a program at a sober living facility. Donald Dana is due back in court on October 1st.
A U.S. District Court judge ruled yesterday that the federal government cannot decide who can vote by mail. This comes on the heels of yesterday's remarks by the Postmaster General that the U.S. Postal Service will decline to deliver mail-in ballots in states that refuse to provide voter data to the federal government. 30 states have declined to share state voter lists, including Maine. Secretary of State Shannon Bellows issued a statement following the court decision. She said, quote, "The idea that the U.S. Postal Service would refuse to deliver ballots in a state where we have properly refused the Trump administration's demands for voter data is an illegal and unconstitutional attempt to keep Americans from voting. We've won every court case on this issue, and we're not going to back down now in defending Maine's voting rights."
In other news this morning, firefighters from Rangeley had an unusual rescue on Thursday. They helped save a dog that had jumped from an apartment window onto the second floor. Firefighters used a ladder to reach the dog. They calmly guided it back through the window to its waiting owner. It's apparently not the first time the pooch managed to make it onto the roof there.
Maybe the owner needs to figure out a way to keep it from happening.
Maybe, yeah.
The screen won't stop it, apparently.
No, apparently not.
All right, well, the city of Brewer stepped up to support those impacted by last month's terrible fire at Robbins Lumber in Searsmont. Last night, city leaders and volunteers put on a day of community caring as a way to support those impacted. Our Callie Warren takes us to the Neighbors Helping Heroes event.
Brewer is our tagline has always been a community of caring, and we wanted to be able to step up and help, so we have a fun-filled night.
It was fun for the whole family at Brewer's Doyle Field on Thursday. But behind the bounce houses, ice cream and laughter.
It's about getting together and caring for each other.
Is a very worthy cause.
This is an event to assist in some financial relief. It's a fundraiser for the Robbins lumber victims.
After tragedy struck Searsmont last month, the city of Brewer wanted to step up and help. Even though they're an hour away, city leaders say they still remain Searsmont strong.
This could happen anywhere to anyone at any time, and it could have been any one of our people here or any other neighboring jurisdiction. And we needed to do something not only to help the people impacted, but to also show our support for all of our first responders.
Fire, EMS, police, we're all doing the same work. We're out serving the community. We're putting ourselves in danger to help protect the community and keep them safe. And we're helping each other. That's what it's all about, is showing support for each other.
All proceeds from the event went to the Waldo County Firefighters Association to support impacted families and departments.
I'm very, very proud of this city and this community.
In Brewer, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
What a nice thing to do.
Yeah, it looks like they had a great turnout.
Yeah.
Well, the time now is 6:11. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, many people in Bangor enjoyed the nice weather yesterday at the annual Summer Block Party.
We'll join the fun coming up, but first, a look at that forecast for today. A rainy day ahead today. High temperatures around 70 degrees. We could see some thunderstorms tonight, lows dropping down to the mid-50s, and more of the same tomorrow. A little drier tomorrow, partly cloudy with just a slight chance of thunderstorms. High temperatures on Saturday, 77 degrees. We'll be right back.
Here at Twin City Tire and Service, you will be working with industry professionals. We have ASE certified master technicians and certified tire and lube technicians. If we need your vehicle for a duration of time, we offer a complimentary shuttle service and can even offer a loaner vehicle. Being a client at Twin City Tire and Service means that we will treat you right. This includes a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on mechanical repairs. We also provide you with 1 year of complimentary roadside assistance. Come see us today at Twin City Tire and Service in Brewer.
The countdown to the Super Bowl is on, and GMA's road to the big game runs through all 32 teams. Now, GMA's in LA with the Chargers, and it could get a little rough.
That's awesome. That was a lot of fun.
The road to the Super Bowl starts this morning on GMA.
Is your Maine issued license or ID expiring soon? Good news. You may be able to skip the trip to the BMV and renew it online, including if your license or state ID is Real ID compliant. Visit maine.gov/SOS/BMV today to find out if you're eligible to renew online. Brought to you by this station, the Maine Association of Broadcasters, and the Office of the Secretary of State.
The fun never stops at Wheel. You got it! It's a car! You're a millionaire!
Weekdays at 7 on ABC 7.
The town of Lincoln will once again be without a town manager. Lincoln Communications Director Sean Rogers confirmed with us that interim town manager Wade Schaefer has resigned less than 2 months after being hired. Schaefer's recognition immediately follows a contentious budget hearing on Monday in which the council approved significant reductions to public safety spending and other municipal departments. Schaefer was appointed by the town council back in May. He was hired after former town manager Dennis Bullen was fired by the council. Bullen was fired less than 2 months into the role as well. Bullen previously told us that the council's decision stemmed from disagreements over budget priorities. Schaefer's recognition now marks the 4th time in less than a year that Lincoln has lost a town manager. It's unclear when Schaefer's last day will be. A town employee confirmed that he was at the office yesterday, but he was not available for comment.
To say hundreds of people in Bangor enjoyed the sun yesterday would be an understatement. Community members, organizations, and more gathered at Bangor's largest playground for the 15th annual Summer Block Party, hosted by Bangor Housing Authority and the Boys and Girls Clubs of Bangor. People could enjoy the splash pad, a trampoline park, and a rock climbing wall.
We did it originally over on the Down East School property, and then once we built the splash pad, we moved it here, and it really has grown in size over the years.
We all look forward to it. It's the heart of our work. It's coming together and really celebrating the relationships that are built here in this community.
Well, Myatt says the annual get-together started 15 years ago as a way for kids to enjoy the end of the school year. Looks like they were having fun,
looks
too.
like a fun time. Well, one of Bangor's biggest celebrations of the year is happening tomorrow. But when Pride Fest returns this weekend, those attending may notice a few changes. Our Alex Schley has more on what you can expect.
For more than 3 decades, Bangor Pride has served as both a celebration and show of support for the LGBTQ+ community. This year, organizers say the festival has a new location.
So we have moved the Bangor Pride Festival to the waterfront to allow for a more cohesive space where we can actually spread out and have everything all together.
Bangor's first Pride event was held in 1992, 20 years before same-sex marriage became legal in Maine. Organizers say the event has grown significantly since then, while continuing to send the same message of inclusion and acceptance.
It's still very important to have Pride to show that Bangor is a safe city for LGBTQIA+ people.
In past years, the parade has wound its way through downtown Bangor, ending near the heart of the city's celebration. This year, organizers say they revised the route.
We are going through a little bit of downtown. We're going to turn on Water Street towards the parking garage and then turn on Broad Street up to the Sea Dog.
The parade will begin in downtown Bangor, but will spend less time navigating the city streets before heading towards the waterfront.
That way, people who have trailers can actually still easily be in it rather than navigate some of those really tight corners downtown. It's very accessible, the lengthwise, and the sidewalks and the waterfront are much flatter, nicer for people and with mobility needs.
Once the parade reaches the waterfront, attendees will find a full day of activities.
Around the waterfront, we're going to have almost 200 vendors and resources. The Northern Light mobile mammogram unit's going to be there. Maine Family Planning Health on Wheels unit's going to be there. Bangor Public Health is doing HIV and Hep C testing on site.
Organizers expect thousands will take part in this year's celebration. For more information on Bangor Pride events and a full schedule of activities, go to our website, foxbangor.com. In Bangor, Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, let's hope everybody has a good time.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to have a lot going on.
Yeah.
Well, the time now is 6:17. After the break, many major Supreme Court decisions were handed down yesterday. We'll have all the details coming up.
Plus, 2 tech giants are raising prices on popular products. We'll tell you why as Good Morning Maine rolls along.
From the heart of Maine, where rugged beauty meets timeless craftsmanship, Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, taming the outdoors through groundwork, retaining walls and seawalls, building custom fireplaces that become the centerpiece of your home, crafting granite steps and patios that invite you outdoors, designing hardscapes that turn yards into living spaces, built to last, crafted for life. Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, quality in every stone.
Get his leash. Let's try to put this one in here.
Built for Monday.
Jeez, Kelly, you guys ever drive this thing?
Born for Saturday. How it should be. The Hyundai Santa Fe.
Lease an all-wheel drive Hyundai Santa Fe SE for $289 a month, or get up to $3,500 customer cash. Hurry in.
As a doctor in rural Maine, we're already seeing the impact. Susan Collins voted to support Donald Trump on the largest Medicaid cut in history. Healthcare is getting even more expensive. People are losing coverage. Our hospitals are closing, and the worst is yet to come. But Susan Collins gave Trump a blank check for his war in Iran. Billions of dollars that we could use here in Maine. We need to tell Susan Collins to stop siding with Donald Trump. We can't afford it.
Well, a nonprofit counseling service is reopening in Bangor after moving locations.
Our Sam Miller has more.
After its initial opening in October of 2025, the Saving Grace Counseling Center has reopened its doors at a new location, where they aim to apply their original approach to mental health counseling. The nonprofit offers care and support for people who may not be able to access it, with services including marriage counseling, family therapy, and life coaching. Saving Grace President and CEO Scott Hosier says the job itself is a reward all its own, and everyone who walks in the door is welcome.
You have no background when you come here. We do not hold you guilty for anything. When you walk through a door, that's all we know about you. That's all we want to know about you unless you share. If it pertains to your counseling, then fine. But your background, you have we have nothing against anybody because we don't know them. And they're coming to us for help, and we want to be there for the help.
The center asks clients to commit to a flexible 12-week counseling program. They are not obligated to continue once it's finished. However, ongoing care is available if needed. Joan Reinholdson, the COO of Saving Grace, says they're seeking help through donations, and helping people build themselves back up is the biggest priority.
We're always looking for business partners to come alongside and help us out. When you help individuals or couples in your community, you're really helping yourself because it becomes stronger and there's less stigma around mental health. And people can learn those communication skills, they can learn those life skills that will benefit their community further.
You can help donate to the center through their website at www.savinggracecounselingcenter.org. In Bangor, Sam Miller, ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, the time now is 6:20. Let's get a full look at our forecast with meteorologist Evan Biggs.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Let's check out the wave heights this morning at around 2 feet according to the buoys, and still looking reasonable further off towards the north and east. No advisories along the coast or even inland either. We're looking pretty good. Farther out towards sea at around 3 to 4 feet, so no major activity looking out toward the Atlantic Ocean. Water temperatures in the upper 50s this morning, and water temperatures still in the 50s and 60s at this moment in time. Meanwhile, on land, we do have some rain showers developing. At times in Canada, we've even had some thunderstorms. No thunderstorms for us at this time. We'll be watching for those developing throughout the daytime period today. As we do zoom things out, that area low pressure is tracking in our direction, and we'll have opportunities for showers and thunderstorms developing today. There will be some breaks built in, but overall a very active forecast period on the way. So here's a look at things in the short term. Scattered showers and thunderstorms on the way for us today. Later on tonight, the thunderstorms will end. We'll be under a partly cloudy sky with areas of dense fog developing. A few scattered rain showers possible for your Saturday. And again, we'll still see a few of those for a little bit before they back off overnight in the parts of Sunday morning. And then we're still going to be watching for some measurable rainfall coming up. But between now and as we head towards Sunday morning, some decent rainfall, especially in the northern parts of the state. Maybe not as much further down toward the south, except for some locally heavy downpours. But overall, we'll take what we can get as we make a dent in that drought. But otherwise, again, we're still going to have some humidity pumping in as well. Dew points overall in the lower to middle 60s for quite some time. But overall averaging in the lower 60s. But overall for today, a low 70s, scattered showers and thunderstorms, and a south wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. By tonight, thunderstorms early, then clouds and fog overnight. Again, lows in the mid 50s, and the wind overall looking nice and calm. And then for tomorrow, we have upper 70s, partly cloudy. There is a slight chance for a shower or storm, and that north wind at about 5 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast for your Sunday. Showers and thunderstorms coming up for your Sunday. Again, highs in the upper 70s. Monday, showers and thunderstorms, highs in the mid 80s. And then Tuesday, more showers and thunderstorms with highs in the low 80s.
Do you take propane tank?
Anything goes.
How about cardboard?
Anything goes.
How about old rug?
Yeah, anything goes.
So this too?
Furniture removal, basements, garages, attics, hoarder houses. It doesn't matter here at Anything Goes Junk Removal. Anything goes. Well, almost anything.
Are you in need of remodeling your bathroom? Want to convert your tub into a safe walk-in shower? Call the experts at Bangor Bathrooms by Design now. They offer complete bathroom remodels, and from start to finish, your satisfaction is guaranteed. Call them now and save thousands. 659-6457. Enjoy that brand new bathroom you've always wanted from Bangor Bathrooms by Design. Transforming bathrooms, elevating lives.
Being raped is one of the worst fears that women have. So we take precautions to avoid dangerous situations. Graham Plattner blamed women for getting raped because he said we get effed up drunk. Mr. Plattner blamed the rapists, not the women. And now we learn Plattner used an app that's called a predator's paradise for child exploitation. Graham Plattner is disgusting, gross, and unfit for the Senate. Pine Tree Results PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Webb's RV Center has a 4-acre lot with over 75 previously owned campers all on sale, plus another 4 acres of new RVs and motorhomes. Webb's RV will take anything in trade. You can buy a camper anywhere, but be sure to buy your next camper at your local neighbor. A website can't service your RV, but Webb's RV will. And they have the biggest service department in the state of Maine to help you enjoy your RV or motorhome.
So come on down, neighbor. The coffee pot's on and the pencil is sharp.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Several major Supreme Court decisions were handed down that will affect hundreds of thousands in the U.S., from a ruling on asylum seekers to gun rights. ABC's Karen Waugh is in Washington to break it all down.
This morning, reaction to major wins for President Trump's immigration agenda. First, the Supreme Court revived a policy allowing border agents to turn away asylum seekers at the U.S.-Mexico border. Trump Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller declaring the country's asylum system all but shut down.
America's doors are closed fully to asylum seekers. We've set up agreements where if you want asylum, then we will find a country elsewhere in the world to take you.
In a separate decision, the Supreme Court's conservative majority ending temporary protected status for hundreds of thousands of Haitian and Syrian immigrants. Roughly 350,000 Haitians have lived and worked in the U.S. legally for years after fleeing violence in their home country or natural disasters like the 2010 earthquake. Ohio's Republican governor called the decision a mistake, saying Haitians were working and contributing to our community and economy yesterday. Today, it is now illegal to employ them. He noted sending them back to Haiti, where gangs control much of the country, could put them in danger. Advocates rallied in Springfield, Ohio, in support of the Haitian immigrant community.
They came to the United States to escape violence, instability, and danger. Going back in Haiti is not simply return home. It could mean return to a place where their life are at risk.
The court's conservative majority also struck down a Hawaii law that required people to get permission from property owners before bringing guns into public businesses. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson dissenting, saying the court's objective is protecting guns, not consistently preserving any principle of law. Next week, the Supreme Court is set to rule on President Trump's attempt to end birthright citizenship by executive order. It's one of the most highly anticipated decisions of the year that would affect millions of Americans. Karen Waugh, ABC News, Washington.
Well, meanwhile, the U.S. military is rushing to help out in Venezuela. That country is reeling from back-to-back earthquakes that have already left hundreds of people dead and thousands injured. Now the Pentagon is moving assets and personnel into the country as U.S. rescue teams also head there to help out. Sophie Flay has more.
This morning, rescue workers in a race against the clock to find people trapped in the rubble after the twin earthquake disaster in Venezuela. Moments of joy as people are rescued, dragged from the ruins of buildings. This 4-year-old boy carried to safety. But the outlook is bleak, with hundreds already confirmed dead, thousands injured, and as many as 25,000 people unaccounted for. Earthquake experts warn the death toll could top 10,000. The massive magnitude 7.2 and 7.5 earthquakes hit just 39 seconds apart. Aerial views show the extent of the devastation in the hard-hit city of La Guaira, building after building damaged or destroyed. And now, concerned that some buildings currently standing could collapse.
Even in my own building, there are many, many cracks in some of the apartments. In my own apartment,
There's a lot of cracks in the walls.
Aid and rescue teams from around the world now on their way, including this team from the Los Angeles County Fire Department. The U.S. military sending 2 Navy ships and 2 planes to provide assistance. A Marine general will lead U.S. relief efforts. And in Miami, volunteers packing up supplies.
What are the things that are most in need right now?
Everything that's important. Food, medicines, all of the needs that are needed over there, the people, because sometimes they are families that they lose everything.
Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
Well, now to the topic of safety in the skies and yet another plane crash, this time in Minnesota. One person was killed in a plane crash at Winona Municipal Airport on Thursday evening. And according to a Facebook post from the Winona Fire Department, life-saving measures were attempted on the lone pilot of that aircraft, but they died at the scene. Authorities said it was a small plane, but did not say if it crashed on takeoff or on landing. The incident is under investigation by the NTSB and FAA, as lawmakers have been discussing new technology to keep small planes and large aircraft safe during that travel.
Well, buying a computer, iPad, or a video game is about to get more expensive. Prices are rising, in some cases dramatically, because of a shortage of computer chips. Well, now being called a crisis. Here's ABC's Andrea Fujii with the details.
2 tech giants are raising prices by hundreds of dollars on their most popular products, blaming the booming demand for memory chips, calling it chipflation.
AI is eating the world's memory chips.
Apple says it's increasing the MacBook Pro by $300 to nearly $2,000, and the iPad Air is up $150, now selling for $749. Microsoft joining suit, saying by August, some Xbox consoles will increase by $150. Why the big jump? The shortage of memory chips, which are being used in expanding artificial intelligence technology, leading to huge demand and increasing prices from the 3 companies that produce the chips.
It's the same memory that goes into your laptop. That same memory is the same thing that goes into data centers. And so everybody is racing to build these data centers, and that's what's eating up all of the world's chips by the truckload.
Consumers not happy.
What? The prices were already pretty raised.
I feel bad for anybody that ain't got that Xbox yet.
Apple explaining, we have never seen a component price increase this much, this quickly. Microsoft adding, the entire consumer electronics industry is struggling with the current components crisis. Experts warn prices may go even higher.
This is just the beginning of price increases. Unfortunately, Apple and Microsoft are 2 of the most premier players in this field. And if they are increasing their prices, we're going to see other competitors following suit.
iPhone prices remain unchanged for now. But with news that Apple is raising prices on other products, its stock fell nearly 5% Thursday. Andrea Fujii, ABC News, New York.
Well, coming up on the second half of the newscast, this weekend, Mel Brooks is turning 100 years old.
Wow, how about that? We'll tell you about that and more coming up on Good Morning Maine.
Coast to countryside.
We love it here. Here is the smell of fresh bread, good food at the table, a familiar face behind the counter, where we pick up right where we left off. Right here is where all the good happens, because here is home.
I'm Jim with Lowry Law. A husband and wife called me after they were hit at high speed by a drunk driver. They were both seriously injured, they couldn't work, and they were worried about their medical bills. We put 2 former prosecutors on the case and got them the justice they deserved. A $400,000 settlement they were able to use for their retirement. If you've been hurt by a drunk driver, call me. I'm your go-to guy.
Hurt by a drunk driver? Call the twos. You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, today is Friday, June 26th, 2026, and it's also National Canoe Day.
Canoes have been around for thousands of years and have come a long way since they were carved from tree trunks. They're a great way to get some exercise and to check out natural areas that wind through the countryside. In fact, you can try it out for yourself at the Harundo Wildlife Refuge up in Old Town. They offer canoe rentals and guided paddles to help people get close to nature.
It's a great thing to do, too. I've gone up there
Yeah.
before and done some of the paddles, and boy, you'll see wildlife, all kinds of things, and nothing more relaxing.
It really is relaxing.
Yeah.
I was just about to say, and sometimes it's a nice workout that you don't even realize you're doing.
Yeah, it's
until
an easy
maybe,
workout.
Maybe after you're
Yeah.
a little sore. But,
but it is a great way to
It
get
is.
outside, though, so
Yeah.
give it a try. All right, time for some history. It was on this day back in 1819, the bicycle was patented by W.K. Clarkson Jr. in Ohio. At the time, bikes were originally called the velocipede. I never knew that
Me
before.
either.
You know, gonna go for a ride on my velocipede.
Velocipede.
So glad they changed the name. 1917, U.S. troops entered World War I as American soldiers arrived in France. And in 1956 on this date, Congress approved the Federal Highway Act. It allocated billions of dollars to construct more than 41,000 miles of interstate highways. It was the largest construction project in the U.S. to date.
Wow.
Hard to imagine what it was like not too long ago, but like say if you wanted to drive up to Presque Isle,
Right.
what would you do if you didn't have the interstate?
I guess back roads.
Take Route 2,
That
all
would-
those back roads.
It'd be pretty
and
miserable.
It'd take you a long time
Yeah,
to get there.
it would.
So thank goodness they had the foresight to do that.
Definitely. Well, in 1974, a pack of Wrigley's Juicy Fruit gum became the first item to be scanned with a barcode. In 1996, the Supreme Court found that the Virginia Military Institute's male-only admissions policy violated the 14th Amendment. The first female cadets enrolled that following year. And in 1997, the first Harry Potter novel was published. It was called Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone in the United Kingdom, but was named Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone here in the U.S. It also inspired a new generation of readers. It sure did.
I read them to my kids when they were little and went to see every Harry Potter movie.
Oh, yeah.
And
the movies were big, but I feel like the books were just as popular too.
yeah, it got me into reading more too. I hadn't
Totally.
been reading much, but I
Yeah.
look forward to each new Harry Potter book.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to birthdays now. We got some big ones
We
today.
do.
Actor Nick Offerman is 56. Actor Jacob Elordi, I think that's how you pronounce
It
his
is,
name.
yep.
He's like Mr. Hot, hunky
Yeah.
actor dude
Yeah,
now, right?
he's been in a lot of stuff recently, and he's very, very famous.
Yeah, I saw him in Frankenstein.
He was in
I like that.
Frankenstein, Wuthering Heights,
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff.
And singer Ariana Grande, she's kind of famous too.
Kind of.
Just a little bit.
Just a little.
She is 33 years old today. Happy birthday to them and to you also if your birthday is today.
We'll turn things right back over to meteorologist Steven Biggs.
Mr. Hunky Dude.
Hunky Dude.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Happy Friday. We are watching an area of low pressure moving in from the west and going toward the east, causing some rain showers to develop this morning. Even some thunderstorms up in parts of Canada right now. We are not seeing any of that. Just some rain that's currently approaching, some decent downpours at times. We're definitely welcoming now with some areas still dealing with a little bit of drought. We'll still deal with some thunderstorm opportunities on and off throughout the daytime period today. But as we do push forward in time, Futurecast showing some scattered showers and thunderstorms on and off today. As we head towards later on tonight, the precipitation will back off. We'll be under a partly cloudy sky with areas of dense fog developing. As we do push forward in time, notice we still have some areas dealing with some drought conditions. So again, we'll definitely welcome the precipitation as we do make a dent in that drought. But as we do take a look at the forecast for today, lower 70s, scattered showers and some thunderstorms, and that south wind getting up to about 5 to 10 miles per hour. As we do check out your hourly forecast for today, there's some rain, some thunderstorms expected today too. Temperatures not warming up all that much, only making it into the upper 60s to lower 70s for the afternoon period. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up.
All right, thank you, Devin. Well, still to come here this morning, Jack Webb with sports.
Don't go away.
Can't believe we're finally doing this. Just 2 more hours.
I gotta go to the bathroom. Guys, relax. We've got AAA.
AAA, we're always with you. T-Mobile has the best network. That's why there's no better place to get iPhone 17 Pro on them. Hold on.
Is this big enough? We should have music, lights, banners. I mean, you gotta feel it. Get the most powerful iPhone ever on the best network. I should dance.
This is big. At T-Mobile, get the incredible iPhone 17 Pro on us, on the best network.
I'm gonna do a flip. Nailed it.
Here at Twin City Tire and Service, you will be working with industry professionals. We have ASE certified master technicians and certified tire and lube technicians. If we need your vehicle for a duration of time, we offer a complimentary shuttle service and can even offer a loaner vehicle. Being a client at Twin City Tire and Service means that we will treat you right. This includes a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on mechanical repairs. We also provide you with 1 year of complimentary roadside assistance. Come see us today at Twin City Tire and Service in Brewer.
Peter Van here. You know, I thought growing up would be the worst, but then I found a way to hack adulthood. It's called AAA. With AAA, it's all about the perks, just like being a kid, except with better snacks and no bedtime. Yes, it pays to be a member.
ABC 7 and Fox 22's Jack Webb, named Maine's Sportscaster of the Year by the National Sports Media Association.
Welcome back in, folks. Being a kid this time of year is just the best. Endless activities all over the map. And the Maine baseball program is holding a day camp for kids this week. Over 50 Little League age players are spending their first official week of the summer at Mahaney Diamond, growing their love for the game while sharpening their skills with Division I coaches and players.
We get in for a full week and, get to be around some of our players here at Maine, some of our coaches, and, morning time, it's usually we're teaching some fundamentals of the game, teaching these kids how to, really love the game of baseball, which is, super important for me and all of our players here. And then right now, for example, we're at a lunch break and, kids are playing wall ball, flying around, meeting new friends, connecting with friends they have from school and, just loving the nice summer weather.
As you can tell from his answer, there may be times where it gets a little baseball heavy, but there is still plenty of time for the kids to be kids, which is the ultimate goal of the summer camp.
Yeah, we do some wall ball. We get in and watch some old school baseball movies like The Sandlot. We've done some baseball trivia for some prizes. The kids really enjoy that, and then we'll, do some wiffle ball and some kickball in that free time, and then we do a lot of, controlled scrimmages where we can, let the kids go have some fun, but also, teach them, when there's some teachable moments. The ultimate goal is for these kids to meet new friends and be with their friends and just love the game of baseball. I mean, I think we can all think back to summer camps we had when we were kids, and, it's just an amazing time.
Let's swing it over to the NBA and the Boston Celtics, who made their second selection of the NBA draft on Wednesday. The Celtics selected forward Dylan Mitchell out of St. John's with the 40th overall pick in the 2026 NBA draft. And for the second night in a row, Boston has selected a tall forward to amp up their front court presence. The 6'8" forward specializes on defense, but he isn't just a guy that you stick in the paint. His high athleticism allows him to switch and guard the wing, which is crucial when guarding some of the best outside shooters in the NBA. Mitchell averaged 8.7 rebounds and 2 assists last year with St. John's, willing his team to a Sweet 16 appearance in this year's March Madness tournament. Celtics VP Mike Zarin says Mitchell is a guy they've had their eyes on for a long time.
His athleticism stood out. It took him a few years to sort of grow from there. We followed him another year at Texas and then Cincinnati, and then this past year at St. John's, I think, I don't know if you guys know the coach there, but he can really coach. And I think Dylan sort of found more purpose there. He became one of the best perimeter defenders in college basketball.
An exciting future ahead for the Celtics with those 2 draft picks, but let's go to the other side of things. Well, the summer drags on for the Red Sox and their fans as the team continues to struggle and losses seem to be getting worse as the Sox most recently dropped a series to one of the worst teams in baseball, the Colorado Rockies. In the first game of the series, Aldous Chapman blew a save which allowed the Rockies to walk it off and win. The Sox recovered with a win in Game 2 in the rubber match, and the Red Sox held a 6-3 lead in the third game until they allowed the Rockies to rattle off 5 runs between the 7th and 8th innings to come back and win it. Marcelo Mayer had a costly error in the game. Here he was, and here's what he had to say in the locker room afterward.
Didn't get the ball out of the glove. It just can't happen. Just a brutal error, obviously. It ended us costing us a game. To me, that's the most routine route I could possibly get. This game's 100% on me.
Well, folks, another day of World Cup action is in the books, so let's bring you up to speed with the latest scores. We'll take a look, and it's Curacao with a 2-0 loss to the Ivory Coast. The Netherlands with a 3-1 win over Tunisia. Japan and Sweden tie 1 apiece. Germany has a loss to Ecuador 2-1, and Ecuador is heading to the knockout round for the first time in 20 years, and that knockout round is just around the corner. That's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
The 2026 Nissan Frontier, with Ward's most awarded V6 engine in the last 30 years. Nissan, #1 in new vehicle quality. Get 0% APR on select 2026 Frontier trims.
As a doctor in rural Maine, we're already seeing the impact. Susan Collins voted to support Donald Trump on the largest Medicaid cut in history. Healthcare is getting even more expensive. People are losing coverage. Our hospitals are closing, and the worst is yet to come. But Susan Collins gave Trump a blank check for his war in Iran. Billions of dollars that we could use here in Maine. We need to tell Susan Collins to stop siding with Donald Trump. We can't afford it.
There are so many fun things to do in Maine. Now you can enjoy more for less. Check out half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
Looking for great food and hometown flavor? Riverside Grill is your favorite spot for juicy burgers, choices on seafood, and more. Fresh food served with a smile every day.
There's a limited supply available. It's on sale right now. Save with half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
The 2026 Nissan Frontier, with Ward's most awarded V6 engine in the last 30 years. Nissan, #1 in new vehicle quality. Get 0% APR on select 2026 Frontier trims.
Well, this Sunday it will be Mel Brooks' 100th birthday, and we're taking a look back at the many laughs he's given us over the past many decades.
Here's ABC's Danny New.
And yet he is 2,000 years old. Is that true, sir?
Yes. You want to see my driver's license?
The mensch who once played the 2,000-year-old man?
It's me, Mel Brooks.
Is now officially getting a 20th of the way there. This Sunday, comedian, filmmaker, and EGOT winner Mel Brooks turns 100 years old.
It's good to be the king.
Born Melvin Kaminsky, this Brooklynite got his big break writing for Sid Caesar's Your Show of Shows.
Step 6. We take $1 million, we fly to Rio de Janeiro. Rio.
Before creating an instant classic with his first feature-length film, The Producers. He won an Oscar for writing its screenplay. Its Broadway adaptation would go on to win a record 12 Tony Awards, and it set up his early partnership with Mr. Wonka himself, Gene Wilder.
Lies! Lies! Do you hear me?
A few years later, they would go on to co-write Young Frankenstein, which Brooks directed and Wilder starred in.
Hey, maybe you should eat something first. No, thanks. Food makes me sick.
And that same year, Wilder would star alongside Cleavon Little in perhaps Brooks's most beloved comedy, Blazing Saddles. In fact, this weekend, the American Film Institute is declaring this Western satire as officially the funniest film of all time.
The Force? No, the Schwartz.
Of course, Brooks would also go on to poke fun at our parent company Disney's Star Wars with 1987's Spaceballs.
May the Schwartz be with you.
Which now has a sequel on the way next year with Brooks slotted to star. How does he keep doing it?
Ow.
Well, as he told ABC's George Stephanopoulos a few years ago, maybe he just loves his shtick.
How great, though, to be remembered as someone who makes people laugh. Well, it's a good job.
At that time, he was promoting his memoir, All About Me, which features this line on the last page. Even though it seems foolish and silly and crazy, comedy has the most to say about the human condition. In New York, for ABC News, I'm Danny New.
I've always liked Mel Brooks.
So funny and so talented. Well, now here's meteorologist Devin Biggs with our full weather forecast.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Let's check out the wave heights this morning at around 2 feet according to the buoys, and still looking reasonable further off towards the north and east. No advisories along the coast or even inland either. We're looking pretty good. Farther out towards sea at around 3 to 4 feet, so no major activity looking out toward the Atlantic Ocean. Water temperatures in the upper 50s this morning, and water temperatures still in the 50s and 60s at this moment in time. Meanwhile, on land, we do have some rain showers developing. At times in Canada, we've even had some thunderstorms. No thunderstorms for us at this time. We'll be watching for those developing throughout the daytime period today. As we do zoom things out, that area low pressure is tracking in our direction, and we'll have opportunities for showers and thunderstorms developing today. There will be some breaks built in, but overall a very active forecast period on the way. So here's a look at things in the short term. Scattered showers and thunderstorms on the way for us today. Later on tonight, the thunderstorms will end. We'll be under a partly cloudy sky with areas of dense fog developing. A few scattered rain showers possible for your Saturday. And again, we'll still see a few of those for a little bit before they back off overnight in the parts of Sunday morning. And then we're still going to be watching for some measurable rainfall coming up. But between now and as we head towards Sunday morning, some decent rainfall, especially in the northern parts of the state. Maybe not as much further down toward the south, except for some locally heavy downpours. But overall, we'll take what we can get as we make a dent in that drought. But otherwise, again, we're still going to have some humidity pumping in as well. Dew points overall in the lower to middle 60s for quite some time. But overall averaging in the lower 60s. But overall for today, a low 70s, scattered showers and thunderstorms, and a south wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. By tonight, thunderstorms early, then clouds and fog overnight. Again, lows in the mid 50s, and the wind overall looking nice and calm. And then for tomorrow, we have upper 70s, partly cloudy. There is a slight chance for a shower or storm, and that north wind at about 5 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast for your Sunday. Showers and thunderstorms coming up for your Sunday. Again, highs in the upper 70s. Monday, showers and thunderstorms, highs in the mid 80s. And then Tuesday, more showers and thunderstorms with highs in the low 80s.
I served 2 tours in the Middle East, 21 years in the Air Force.
I served in a field artillery unit.
The Maine National Guard. I respect Graham Plattner's service, but he doesn't respect ours.
Plattner falsely accused a military hero of war crimes.
He said a Purple Heart recipient didn't deserve to live after being shot, trying to save his own troops.
And Plattner blames his Nazi tattoo on military culture? That's insulting. Graham Plattner's a fraud. He's unfit to represent Maine.
Pine Tree Results PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
If you've been injured in a motorcycle wreck, call 855-IRON-LAW today. Iron Horse Motorcycle Lawyers. We protect our own.
Why should your new floor come from Carpet One? Because we're passionate about the spaces our neighbors call home. We're part of your community, and we're also part of the world's largest cooperative of independently owned and operated flooring stores. So you can be sure you'll get great selection and outstanding value with every installation. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, tile, or luxury vinyl, our experts take the guesswork out of choosing the right floor. We're your local Carpet One Floor and Home, the one store for your perfect floor.
Rennie's, a main adventure. This summer, Rennie's has everything you need. Lots of camping stuff, fans, bug spray, sunscreen. Get to Rennie's.
This is all I need. Thank you for shopping Rennie's. July 4th, 24 hours non-stop, live all across the country. We are all a part of this history. And when the country comes together to celebrate, this is where it happens. Disney celebrates America 250.
A slice of classic Americana is going on display to the public for the first time. 4 1940s-era Norman Rockwell sketches titled "So You Want to See the President" are part of a new exhibit at the People's House Museum in Washington, D.C. They depict senators, journalists, Secret Service, and even a 1941 Miss America as they waited for meetings with the president. They were put up for sale by a grandson of the White House official who received them as a gift. The White House Historical Association paid more than $7 million for them, calling them priceless works.
Well, these sketches by Norman Rockwell were in the West Wing of the White House for over 40 years. So they were seen by every president from Jimmy Carter through Donald Trump. And we thought when they became available at auction, it was so important to have them, because if they were lost to an offshore bidder or someone for a private collection, they would be lost forever. And since they had been seen by the eyes of so many presidents and first ladies and senior White House staff and important visitors from around the world, we wanted the American people to see them.
The pieces will be on display through June of next year. The association is still figuring out what will happen to them after the exhibit ends. They may eventually end up back in the White House.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, naturally, Liverpool is at the heart of Global Beatles Day with a series of events celebrating the city's famous sons yesterday, taking place on the anniversary of the international live broadcast of All You Need Is Love in 1967. This year is the first recognized by the company founded by John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr. And with the endorsement of Apple comes more celebrations around the world centered around the Fab Four. In Liverpool, fans visited pop-up events and saw a venue where the Beatles played some of their first ever gigs. Global Beatles Day has been a fan-run event on June 25th since 2009.
Oh, seems like fun.
Beatles still very popular today.
Very, very popular. Yeah. Well, that's all the time that we have left for this hour, but you can join us for the second hour of Good Morning Maine. That's next on Fox 22.
Thanks for being there, everyone. We hope you have a great day.
He jumped on the ladder and climbed up about 3 steps and just hung there. The crew chief went down the ladder, grabbed him by the rucksack and held him until we got off to a LZ where we could drop him off. Amazing courage.
We learned then what the war is all about. Can you help us over here? We have some severely wounded just coming in. I guess that was a part we knew we was at war because they were terribly wounded.
I got where I wouldn't even run to the bunker. Wasn't any sense in doing anything. If you were working and you had a patient on the table, you pulled the patient off the table, put him on the floor, and put yourself on top of the patient.
Everything went crazy. The engines were screaming, and stuff was flying around in the cabin, and it was really something. Then we hit the ground.
The tires were screeching. You could feel the plane doing one of those, and it finally came to a stop. Come to find out, they missed the airport.
We went down one turn too quick, and we took 650 caliber rounds through the bottom of the aircraft. Inside the aircraft is covered with blood. Instruments were all going red lights.
As far as I'm concerned, I think it's the most important thing I've ever done in my life.
2/3 of the way down the ladders, the blast went off, and he was killed outright.
When you first get there, you kind of resign yourself that you might not go home.
I think I saw courage every single day, and everything blew my mind. I saw it every single day, what men and women did over there. People have no clue, absolutely have no clue of what folks did and the sacrifices they made.
As America celebrates its 250th anniversary, we celebrate freedom and honor the men and women who have served to protect it. Our heroes, their own words. Friday, July 3rd at 7 p.m. on ABC 7.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Good morning, America. Race against time. The death toll
in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, the city of Brewer stepped up and hosted a fundraiser last night to support those impacted by the Robbins Lumber Mill fire.
We'll take you there coming up. Also, a nonprofit counseling service is reopening here in Bangor. We'll have the latest on that.
And Bangor Pride is happening tomorrow with some new changes. We'll tell you what you can expect coming up. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us. Happy Friday, everyone. We'll have all the day's news coming up. We've got a lot to tell people about. In fact, we'll have a guest here later on joining us to tell us all about the Orono Arts Festival happening this weekend.
That looks like a bunch of fun.
So many events going on this weekend.
There is.
So we'll tell you about a bunch of them. But first, to check out that forecast. Unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be kind of a rainy end to the week.